welcome back to Fenroll and Gamer. Today we're diving into one of the biggest gaming rumors out there, The Last of Us Part 3. Could Naughty Dog really be working on the next entry in the beloved franchise? New leaks suggest that casting has already begun and we might have our first story details. But are these leaks credible? And what could they mean for Ellie and Abby's future? But before we dive into the details, I know most of you have already watched and moved on, but subscribing and liking are free. Come on, let's be generous. Subscribe to the channel and like the video so we can grow together. Now, let's get started. The latest rumors come from entertainment insider Daniel Richtman, who has a history of leaking credible information about upcoming games and movies. In a Patreon post that was later reported by comicbook.com, Richtman claims that Naughty Dog has already started casting for The Last of Us Part 3. According to his sources, the game will feature a group of survivors taking shelter in an old Victorian house, trying to survive against the infected. Two of these characters, Val and Mason, are reportedly involved in a power struggle, suggesting a tense and dramatic storyline. But here's the catch. There's no mention of Ellie or Abby so far. Does this mean we're getting an entirely new cast of characters, or could this just be one of many storylines in the game? The Last of Us series has always been character-driven, and introducing a brand new cast could be a bold move by Naughty Dog. If these leaks are accurate, it means the story might not entirely focus on Ellie, but instead shift to new survivors in a post-apocalyptic world. However, we can't ignore the lingering questions from Part 2, and Ellie and Abby's stories feel unfinished, and many fans expected a sequel to continue their journeys. It's possible that The Last of Us Part 3 will have multiple intersecting narratives, one following Ellie and another introducing a new group of survivors like Val and Mason. This structure could be similar to The Last of Us Part 2, where the game shifted perspectives between different characters, giving us a broader view of the world. If that's the case, the Victorian house could serve as a key location, much like Jackson or the WLF base in previous games. The leaks don't just stop at Val and Mason. According to Richtman, 3 other characters, Gracie, Ezra, and Lucas, will also play significant roles. One particularly interesting detail from the leaks is that Lucas reportedly forms a close bond with another character before taking a dark turn. What does this mean? Could he become a major antagonist in the story? Or is Naughty Dog planning another emotionally complex character arc like we saw with Abby and Lev? It's too early to tell, but if these rumors are true, The Last of Us Part 3 could feature one of the most ambitious casts we've seen yet. One of the biggest challenges Naughty Dog faces is how to integrate this new story into the existing lore of The Last of Us universe. In Part 2, we saw major shifts in character perspectives, the introduction of the Seraphites, and a deeper exploration of post-apocalyptic factions. If The Last of Us 3 takes place after those events, we need to consider how the world has evolved. Has Ellie truly left her past behind? Could we see more of the Fireflies? And what happened to Abby and Lev after they set sail for the Santa Barbara base? Many fans hope that The Last of Us 3 will tie up these loose ends, while also expanding the world with fresh narratives. If Naughty Dog does decide to move forward with this game, they will need to address how society is rebuilding after years of destruction. Will we see new factions emerging, or will the remnants of the Fireflies try to reform and take control? There are so many possible directions the game could take, and that's what makes this so exciting. Now let's talk about the big question: when can we expect this game? Right now, Naughty Dog is heavily focused on their upcoming sci-fi game, Intergalactic: The Heretic Prophet. This game has been in development for a while and still doesn't have a release window, which means it could be another year or two before it even comes out. If The Last of Us Part 3 is in early casting stages, it's likely still in pre-production. That means we probably won't see the game until at least 2027 or later. It's worth noting that the gap between The Last of Us and The Last of Us Part 2 was 7 years, so a long wait for Part 3 wouldn't be surprising. This raises another question. Will the PlayStation 6 be out by then? If Naughty Dog is working on The Last of Us Part 3, will they optimize it for next-gen hardware, or will it be a cross-generation release like The Last of Us Part 2 was? One important factor to consider is that Naughty Dog recently canceled The Last of Us Online, the multiplayer project that had been in development for 4 years. This suggests that they're shifting focus towards single-player experiences, which is good news for The Last of Us fans. However, Neil Druckmann has hinted that The Last of Us could end with the TV show. In an interview, he mentioned that while ideas for Part 3 exist, the studio has not fully committed to making it. But if these leaks are accurate, it seems like plans for a sequel are moving forward. It's also possible that Naughty Dog could explore spin-off projects. Could we see a standalone story focused on a younger Joel? Or perhaps a game exploring what happened to Tommy after the events of Part 2? While nothing is confirmed, the Last of Us universe is rich with untold stories that could be explored in the future. Another possibility is that Naughty Dog will expand their universe with a brand new setting. Maybe we'll see a game set outside of the United States, showing how other countries have adapted to the outbreak. The possibilities are endless, and fans are eager to see what's next. I have to be honest, The Last of Us isn't just one of my favorite games. It's a world I've emotionally invested in, a story that stayed with me long after the credits rolled. From the first moment I stepped into Joel and Ellie's journey, I knew this wasn't just a game, it was storytelling at its finest. Raw, real, and deeply human. The atmosphere, the characters, the haunting music, everything about it pulled me in completely. And unlike a lot of people out there, I absolutely loved The Last of Us Part 2. I know it divided fans, I know some hated where the story went, but I didn't just accept it, I embraced it. The risks Naughty Dog took made the experience unforgettable for me. Abby's perspective, Ellie's descent into obsession, the emotional weight of it all, it hit me hard. And that's exactly what I want from a story, something that challenges me, makes me feel, and stays with me. There are moments in Part 2 that I'll never forget. The silence, the pain, the growth. Ellie playing that final guitar sequence alone? Come on. That's not just a video game moment, that's pure cinema. Some people may have turned away from the story, but I saw it as a bold and beautiful evolution of the world I already loved, and I still believe it's one of the bravest narrative choices any studio has ever made. So, if The Last of Us Part 3 really is on the way, I'm all in. Whether it continues Ellie's journey or introduces an entirely new cast, I'm ready to dive back into that haunting, broken world. Because no matter where the story goes, I trust Naughty Dog to make me feel something real again. And that's what The Last of Us has always done best. So, what do you think? Are these leaks real, or is it too soon to get excited? Would you want a third game focusing on new characters, or should The Last of Us continue Ellie's journey? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Could Naughty Dog introduce new types of infected, maybe even a more open-world approach? The Last of Us has always been about storytelling, but would adding more exploration enhance the experience? Don't forget to subscribe for more updates on The Last of Us and other major gaming news. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.